The Sly Guy Podcast is now in partnership with Pugs Comedy Club. That's right, Belfast's longest running Thursday night comedy club is supporting the longest running Sly Guy podcast in the country too. There you go, what are the chances? And this is what's happening. On the 13th of October, Pugs Comedy Club is back. That is right. And rather than just coming to the comedy club night, which for the last several nights have been sold out, why don't you get on, book your tickets, and then make a night of it? Why don't you drop into Pug Uglies before the show itself? Have a wee bite of dinner, something to eat. Make a date of it. You know what I'm saying? What I would recommend, the buffalo wrap. Bon appetit, 10 out of 10, delicious. And on the night, there are specialist drinks offers as well. Crack and Rum sponsors the comedy club. There are drink offers on board. You get some Rockshore offers as well, if you're a scally. So get in, get the comedy club, make a night of it, get the wraps, get the food. Speaking of which, by the way, this has nothing to do with Pugs Comedy Club, it's just got to do with Pug Uglies, but I'm saying it anyway. They now do a Sunday roast delivery service. That's right. Not only is the roast available at Pug Uglies in Belfast, you can go online, you can order a Sunday roast and they will bring it to you. A full works Carvery Sunday roast delivered to your front door. If you've had a few too many drinks on the Saturday night, they bring it to your door. If you've been to Pugs on Saturday night, you've made a bit of a dick of yourself and you're like, oh, I'd really like to have this roast, but you're too scundered to show your face in the restaurant or the bar again, do it online. They come to the door. You can send, like, I don't know, your kids or your girlfriend, boyfriend, dog to the door to collect it. You don't have to show your face, but you still get that goodness. So check out Pug Uglies on all socials at Pug Uglies, or check out Pugs Comedy Club at Pugs Comedy Club. 13th of October. Keep a wee eye on the socials. Get the tickets booked. Make a night of it. Dinner, drinks, comedy. What's not to love? Would you look who's back? It's Manscaped. Manscaped are launching a war on pubes. And you know what they needed? Their very own Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin, the lawnmower 4.0, into your big Ukrainian bush and shaving it off. That's who. But we're back. We're in cahoots. We're in a team. And if you want to get some of the Manscaped products, you know what you need to do? Go to manscaped.com. And if you want a discount, you're like, what's the discount that the people want and the discount that the people need? It's the Sly Guy Podcast. That's what you need. And that's not what the code is. The code is not Sly Guy anymore, because that's too long for your fat, lazy fingers. The code is simply 3 letters, and that's SLY, Sly. You can get the Performance 4.0 Manscaped lawnmower. I mean, I've got that wrong, but who cares, because they ditched me before, but we're back and it's fine. They've also got this ball deodorant, which, by the way, genuinely smells terrific. And even whenever we weren't in partnership, I still used the ball deodorant on my balls. And actually, sometimes I ventured back a wee bit further. You know, I'm Vladimir Putin. I go to places where I'm not always welcome. I annex certain areas. I use my balls with the ball deodorant, and then I annex my anus. And I went right up there too, and it smells good as well. Good enough to eat, if my wife would be so inclined. And then, speaking of which, sometimes in life, days can get a wee bit stressful. Your balls can get a little bit sweaty. What you need to do is stick a ball toner on there. The tighter the balls, the less they sweat. So you get on over to manscaped.com, use the code SLY, get a discount, get these guys back on board and make them pay for the Vladimir Putin of pubes. Because that's me. And I'm coming for you. Guys, it's a treat and it's wonderful to have new sponsors on the podcast. Don't get me wrong, I love it. But you know what gives me that warm feeling inside? Whiskey. Just straight whiskey, strong whiskey, burns up my insides. But other than the feeling of alcoholism, what also gives me great joy and pleasure is to know that from day one, Modest Beer have had my back. And tell you what, they don't heat the body like a whiskey does, but they taste way better than a whiskey does. And they'll not be the ones to come out and say we're amazing, because hey, they're modest. But what I will say is, I'm not modest. I'm an extrovert. I'm an egomaniacal. I'm a narcissist. But I like these beers. And that's what Modest Beer are all about. Delicious beers without the fuss. Now, you want to know a bit more about Modest Beer? Every week I come out and I say, go to www.modestbeer.co.uk to find out more. Why not go to www.modestbeer.co.uk and sign up to their brews letter? Not like BRUISE, because that would sound a bit aggressive, but BREWS, brews. Like, you know, brews, they brew beer, and news and brews rhyme. So what they've done, they've taken the word brew and they've taken the word news, they've combined it, and made brews. So now they do a brews letter, which is like a newsletter about beers. You go up there, put your email address in, get the brews letter in your inbox whenever it happens. You know what's happening with Modest Beer. You know what new beers are coming out. You know what events they're doing. For example, this weekend, Modest are at the Portrush Beer Festival. That's right, Saturday and Sunday. They're up there in Portrush, letting you taste the Modest Beer, having a good time up by the North Coast. Two things I love, other than brew and news, merging. It's the North Coast and Modest Beer getting together. And if that's not enough, if you haven't got enough from me in that read, get them on social media. Their handles are simple. Their handles are modest. And their handles are not actually modest. Their handles are Modest Beer. But give them a follow. Tell them Davey sent you. They'll appreciate it. I appreciate it. Get some Modest in your life, and it'll be a better place. Brews letter. News brews. Modest Beer.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Friends, Romans and cunts, welcome to the Sly Guy Podcast. That was an aggressive start. The C-bomb dropped straight away. Shadow ban me now, YouTube. Don't worry. They're probably blocking me anyway because of fuck. You know what? Everyone's on my back. You know, it's always the case, but that's what makes the Sly Guy bigger, badder, and stronger than ever. When people are on my back, Ben, if you even so much... This is what's annoyed me this week. He's straight away, you might know there's another fucking... You might have psychic glands ability to sense spectres and beings and ghosts in a room. Well, there's a ghost in the studio today, a ghost of bloody Sly Guy Past. The Snakrat's come in, his pants... he's come into the studio to show his face for his quarterly production of the Sly Guy Podcast. We've not now in his contract. He slyly wrote it up. He was like, listen, I'll still produce the podcast. However, I'll only make 4 appearances a year in person. What's this stuck to me? Ben, why is this stuck to me? What is this? I look like a tramp on my own podcast. What this is actually is we got some packages sent to us from Manscaped. Who, by the way, let's be honest, weren't too sure about letting Manscaped get back on board of the podcast because they ditched us before. They ditched us because not enough of you fucks went on and used the code SLY, all capitals, SLY, at manscaped.com. So this time what we're doing, we're doing anti-advertisements for them. We're saying, Manscaped, you can sponsor the podcast, but I don't like you. I like your products, but I don't like you. I don't like the people behind Manscaped, but I like the actual products. I like my balls smelling good. I like my pubes being short, but I don't like the company. So what I'm saying to you guys is, spite me. Go on and use the code SLY, all capitals, SLY, at manscaped.com, and spite me. Make them last forever. Us together, me and Manscaped. They're back on board and sent me a nice package, and they sent me some nice underwear, which lets your balls breathe. Ben, you're a big fan of underwear, aren't you? You've actually said that was the highlight of the Manscaped package for you.
100%.
And you wear the t-shirt as well.
I was loud and proud.
Yeah, well, you know what I do with the t-shirts? I give them to the local bonfire builders, and I say, throw these t-shirts in the bonfires and burn them because I don't like Manscaped, but the products are nice. All right, do what you want. And then they're like, but these t-shirts feel really comfortable. Like, yeah, you fucking wear them if you don't want to burn them. I don't care. Me and Manscaped are done. But you know what? Like any good relationship, there's always room for reconciliation. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yes.
So here we are. We're back on board. We'll see how it goes. See if they want to come back. But, I mean, it does look nice, doesn't it? Because you always, like, this is the thing I want to say about Ben coming in the studio. I have a guest on. Now, you know yourself, you do the edits on all the podcasts, from the Sly Guy Podcast to the guest podcasts, and you sometimes, from a distance, like to be a little bit of a bitch and criticise me on my, my focus on some of the videos, and...
It's gentle encouragement.
Gentle encouragement from afar. But, I try my best. I feel like very much like I am a single mother in some respects. Like, you're over there throwing in your paychecks at the end of the month, and I'm just kind of looking after the kids, i.e. this podcast. I'm trying my best. And nothing annoys me more, by the way, than when I've sat for a goddamn hour and a half talking shit to somebody. I look back at the footage, it's not focused. Nothing makes me want to eat my own face more than that. But hopefully it's sorted now. And is this in focus? Am I in the middle of the screen?
No, just out of focus, just to keep it with tradition.
You son of a...
Mic's quiet, out of focus. Battery's going to run it halfway through.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's all well and good. Maybe turn up every week. You know what? You know why he said he didn't want to come last week? I said, can you come produce the podcast last week? He texted me back. He just goes, no. I went, why? And he goes, none of your business. I had to himself. That's the attitude we're dealing with. And that's why he's the Snakrat. Both snake and a rat. But welcome. It's good to have you back. It's good to have someone else to talk to. because I was getting a lot of people fucking messaging me last week being like, have you lost the head? And I went, what do you mean? He goes, you just gave off for a full hour last week. Have you heard that podcast back from last week?
Yeah, I've stumbled through it a few times. I feel like you okay there?
I feel like I've just spilled water all down me. Sometimes when I get annoyed, I can't help it. My bottom lip just goes, whoa, and I just started to dribble a bit of water. But yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm a carer at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit annoyed last week. That's what it is. But it was a lot of people said they were worried about me, but in the same extent, like the following sentence, like, "Are you okay? Have you lost your mind?" Then also said, "That was good. That was vintage Sly Guy. We're back." You know, this is what we want. We want to see you on the edge. We want to see you where your blood pressure is really high, and you may or may not have a wee heart, not a massive heart attack, because 9 times out of 10 a massive heart attack results in, you said it, Ben,
dying,
death. Correct. But you know, if you just get it up to there, it's something probably quite good. It's like you said as well. Whenever you masturbate with a belt around your neck, you say like there is a risk of death, but the high on the route to that's worth it. Is that true?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's true. You know what I mean?
That's what you do after the podcast anyway.
That's what I do during the podcast, but you just can't tell because it's such a fat neck. The belt is buried in my flab somewhere. But yeah, it's nice. It is nice to have you back. I do feel like sometimes when I'm sitting doing a podcast by myself, I'm just looking at the camera and I'm thinking, what a weird little scenario this is. How odd that I'm a full man in my mid-30s. Late 30s now, you could say. A couple of kids and a wife and a dog, you know. But yet I come here to an empty building by myself and I scream down this little black thing staring at me here. A camera. And just, that's it. No one.
It'll be even better when you're like a mid-70-year-old man ranting down here.
I mean, this is the thing I just want to say on that. There's no reason why I'll ever stop. I feel like Ric Flair. He's famously said he will never retire, and a bit of me feels like that. A bit of me I think, you know, maybe I'll just be doing, like, when will I ever stop podcasting? Well, it'll come to the point where, like, unfortunately now, this is like Manscaped. I feel like the Patreon as well, it's slowly getting loyal and better, and people are liking what we're doing over there, and the more patrons we get, the more content we put out, the better quality. And you know what? It's all well and good sitting here slabbering at you, Ben, but I have to tip my cap to you on the vlogs front. I do expect something major from the Newry vlog because you've had it for a month now. So I feel like it's going to be something like, I want to see some sort of like Michael Bay shit in there. Because and for those who don't know, what is a vlog? How do you describe a vlog?
Yeah. Basically, it's used recording like a daily event. So
do you want me to tell you exactly what the meaning of vlog is?
Please do.
So as you don't make a fool of yourself as a videographer. It's a video blog. Vlog. So a blog is just like documenting stuff, and a video blog is a vlog, and that's what we've done over there. Again, how did it start? Was it...
We were looking for...
Did you suggest it, or...
Yeah.
Was I just fucking about with the GoPro or a mix of both?
No.
No. You told me to.
I said... it would be great to see the behind the scenes of you going to gigs and all that.
Yeah.
And then you took your GoPro and the rest is history.
There you go. So what vlogs do we have over there? We have one of because that's how it all started too. Actually, wasn't it? A lot of people were on Patreon. This is the thing too. We're looking at something here now. Again, I'm going to tell you this on a secret level because I don't like giving away a lot of Patreon secrets. I got a couple of messages this week too. You saw them, Ben, from Patreon saying that the Sly Guy Podcast is the best Patreon in the country. You know, if more people were on, more people would see it. www.patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. But, you know, over there, we put extra stuff out there, and the Patreons have said they wanted to see a tour of this new studio we've moved to, and that was the first vlog that they got. But also over there, I feel like I would like to make Patreon a bit more of a community. There is the aspect to it that you can do. I can't figure it out because I'm technophobe, as you know, but I think you can like put a notice board on Patreon where other patrons can kind of communicate with themselves. So I think that's something we'll look at doing. We're always trying to move and evolve over there. You know, that's where we're at here, and the vlogs are just the the first element of additional stuff. Now, there's going to be a stand-up special that I'm recording pretty soon. Again, I'll not tell you dates or anything because I'm not allowed to yet. But if you're a patron, you could see it as well. So there'll be a vlog out. Do you reckon we might get the Newry vlog ready this week sometime, Ben? Do you reckon?
Potentially.
Or are you too busy? Are you too busy editing guest episodes?
There's a lot that gets edited to go out on the Patreon because it's very busy.
Yeah, it is busy Patreon, alright. I bought a new microphone today. It doesn't sync up to my phone. Pissed me off. I think I stomped on it and broke it, so I can't even send it back. But I'm trying to... Like, you know what? I got a wee lapel mic, but you plug a thing into the bottom of my phone and it's supposed to sync, and it just doesn't monitor, so I try to do my voice notes and it doesn't take.
I'll send you another one after.
Mm-hmm.
The one you got was overly complex.
Alright, okay. So what are you going to send me? Just one that plugs in and connects?
It's a very standard one.
But how can it...
I have one you can borrow.
And how does it work on your phone?
Plug it in and use voice notes.
Does it work on voice notes? Or because there didn't seem to be anything on my voice notes that I could.
Yeah, we'll look into it.
We'll look into it. But I mean, ultimately the goal is, my number one goal, I do a podcast over there on Patreon called Dog Walks with Davey, which is effectively just me talking while I walk my dog. And there's a few of them that I'm actually owed a few. I need to put a few up there. But sometimes the sound doesn't get... And you know what the biggest annoyance is for me? I don't know what Patreon have done. But I find sometimes the audio just doesn't upload on the Patreon for whatever reason. Whether it's... I don't know. And it just frustrates me continually uploading it. So sometimes I just throw the head up. And that's why the Dog Walks with Davey sometimes haven't been there. But if we get this new mic set up and have something working, the quality of that will improve exponentially. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? Small steps in the right direction.
Still trying to convince you to get a GoPro strap around your head for the dog walk, so.
There is a patron, who keeps emailing me suggesting...
what about a camera on?
No.
Really?
Well, I mean, that's something we could do, but I don't want people to steal my dog, so I don't want them to know him too well. But this patron has said that he is a pilot of a drone. And for like one Dog Walks with Davey, should we do some sort of drone footage?
That'd be so extra, but yes, please.
You know what? Maybe that's the goal. We will get a Dog Walks with Davey cinematic. You know what we'll do? We'll get I need to set a strap on. We'll not put a strap on my dog. I mean, fuck it. If it looks good enough, we'll put it on like a shark's fin, a big dildo on his back. But that's what we'll do. We'll make that the goal of Patreon, to do the most high quality Dog Walks with Davey video podcast ever. We'll get a drone. We'll get camera strapped to me, strapped to the dog. We'll have you following me, filming on a rig, and we'll just make it extra. Is that something we could do?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. And then maybe what we should do, what we're at the minute, I think we have 250 patrons. Should we say then, if we get up to 350, we'll do the Michael Bay cinematic Dog Walks with Davey.
Pull out all the stops.
Pardon?
Pull out all the stops.
Oh, I thought you said without all stops. I was like, what stops? Maybe we make it a stop. We just dog walk to all the dog walk friendly places in Bangor and make it a real
guide.
Yeah. Because you know what I've actually thought, speaking about guides and dogs, I've seen in a few places that I can't bring my dog in places unless it's a guide dog. So I was thinking of getting a blind man stick and just having it in my pocket, like, you know, one of those the fold out, so if anyone's got a problem, me and my dog, I just whip this out, because I always wear sunglasses because my future's so bright, and sometimes I just walk, if I just had a wee fold out blind stick.
He is quite...
Mm-hmm. He does look like a guide dog, isn't he? Except the only thing is, his behaviour is not akin to a guide dog. A dickhead, yes, but a guide dog, no.
No.
So I wouldn't get away with it. But yeah, I kind of feel bad for him at the minute, because my parents and my mother and father-in-law have done the ultimate Sly move. They've both gone on holidays at the same time, which, I mean, what I think has happened, I think they've gone out for dinner together. I think they've sat down and been like, how could we screw Davey exponentially over a 2-week period? And they went, both go on holiday at the same time. Because you know what that means? I'd look after my own damn kids, and that's not easy and or fun. And then my wife, being selfish, a nurse, she decides to get up, go and help the infirm. I don't care about the infirm. I only care about myself. Let's be fair. And you know what that means when she's up in the hospital at like 6:30? I don't get up at 6:30 when I usually get up and walk my dog, because she's in the hospital. Isn't that selfish, Ben?
I think they're all out to get you.
They're all out to get me. And today was my first day being the single dad to my 2 kids. And you know what? Physically, I'm exhausted right now, and I do have major respect for any single parents out there. See anybody raising more than one kid by themselves, jeepers creepers, you deserve a medal. I nearly said a menu there. I don't know what that even means, but you deserve a medal and a menu. But I managed to get it all done. Got the big one off to school. Me and the wee one went to the weekly grocery shop. It was a nice time. We went home. I just kind of like did housework. Put some washing on, did some dishwashing, bit of dusting, bit of tidying, made some dinner for the next few nights because I'm the house husband, and I just let the wee one just basically pull like, I don't know if your kids do this, Ben, but my 2-year-old, she's 2 now. She was 2 last week. Happy birthday to the wee one. But she doesn't, like, one does not merely play with toys. One likes to pull every single toy in one's possession out, throw it on the floor, and then just throw a tantrum.
Throw everything out on the floor and goes, this room's now too messy for me to play in. I will move to another room.
And then you say, well, then you need to tidy it up. No, I'm not having it. So that's what she ended up doing. Wrecking the house. I had to tidy all that up. Then I went to get the big one from school. She came home, and then, what did she throw a strop about? Yeah, I wouldn't let her go to dinners in school. She's like today was her first day in P1 when she stayed for lunch. Usually she was out an hour earlier for the last wee run, and she stayed an extra hour. First time she had lunch, came home, threw a tantrum that other kids were going to the cafeteria, what it's called. Hey, canteen. Stop being so up your own ass that you don't call the canteen. Other kids go to the cafeteria. Yeah, you get a ham cheese sandwich. Fuck up. There you go. You know, some kids in the world don't even eat ham and cheese, probably because they're fucking lactose intolerant or whatever stupid kids are these days. But I'd have that argument. And you know what she did, Ben? Threw a full strop. Went upstairs to her room, stomped about, gave over, and I'm just trying to be a house husband, make ends meet. You know what I mean?
Do you have a wee cry to yourself after that?
Nah, I just got real raging. It's like, you fucking ungrateful wee bastard. You're an ungrateful ingrate, and I hate you. But then again, you know what? I matured. I let it go because I found that's helped my parent. And any parents that listen to this podcast, which is weird because quite a lot of them do, a life bit of advice that I would give you is remember kids aren't full-grown adults, so they don't rationalise as well as adults do. So instead of like always trying to be like, no, I'm right, listen, do what I say, just send them to the room and lock the door and then come back in like an hour and a half and they're sweet. And that's how I parent. But yeah, it's been a busy old day. A busy, stressful day. And the good news is both sets of parents will return in 13 days from now. So I only have probably about another 13, probably it's half of 13, 6.5 days by myself of parenting, and then it's fine. And I have to try and fit work in. So this is what happens, guys. A full day of looking after my kids, and then I come here, do this podcast. That's dedication. And you know what you should do? You know what you should do as listeners of the show, fans of the show, Ben? What should they do if they want to support us? They should go to www.patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. But yeah, it's nice to have new sponsors on board. As much as I hate them, it's nice to have Manscaped back. You know, I'm sure over time we will bond and they will see that I do the best Manscaped breeds of anybody. Always has been the case. Always will be the case. And you know what? They've got this ball deodorant. And what did we say the last time we did the reads for Manscaped, Ben? That Vannies and Dicks made of the same material. Just ask God. He uses the same stuff. He just uses it a wee bit different, you know. And that's why as well, you know, listen, I don't think enough said about this. Like, people are like, oh, what are you talking about, Dave? Vaginas and dicks aren't made of the same thing. Tell it to the trans community, because what happens is if you want to change gender, they take the whatever genitalia you have, chop it up, make it into something new. And that's moving forward, isn't it? So say tomorrow you decide, you know what? In fact, not tomorrow, because that would be devaluing, perhaps, people who are in the wrong bodies. You know, you maybe for a while you've been feeling to yourself, I actually don't feel like Ben. I feel like, I don't know what Ben would be as a female term. Banani? Is that a name? Say you're a banani and you've known this for a while and you'd have changed. You know what they would do? They'd take your wee willy winky, make a few nips, tuck, make it into a vagina. And you know what you could do? Still use the ball deodorant, and you could still have your new wee banana flaps smelling as nice as your wee banana penis. So there you go. That's what it's all about. And it's all about respecting people as well. I know it's called Manscaped, and I'm sure that triggers some people, but everyone can use it. And you know what as well, Ben? See if you get your wee penis made into a vagina, you don't want to cut your flaps, do you? Especially having spent the money to get your flaps designed. So that's why you should use Manscaped. I mean, the more I talk in this podcast, the more I think it becomes quite evident that I haven't really done any preparation for the podcast, and what it has become is almost... How long have we been talking here so far, Ben?
Probably about just under 20 minutes.
Yeah, so it's probably just become a 20-minute advertisement, which, you know what? Some people would be like, oh, what's he gone done? Other people, like Manscaped at manscaped.com, or Modest Beer at www.modestbeer.co.uk, or Pug Uglies at www.puguglies.com. Probably going, this is good advertisement. This is what we want.
It's like you're trying to fill up a word count at the moment on an essay.
Yeah, but you know what I'm going to say? I put that ball deodorant on my face, and how good does that smell?
It does.
Yeah.
It is very nice.
It does smell nice.
They do a spray last time.
They do a spray as well. This is called ball toner. So I actually shaved before it came out. Used a Gillette razor, to be honest. Sue me. But it smells good. It smells fresh. I did get a bit in my eye there, but you know what I mean? It's good. I would like to reach out to Manscaped and say, any chance of doing something for a beard? Guys, get some sort of like aftershave, bam. Ignore the cock and balls and vanny and just get me something from a beard. Otherwise I'd go elsewhere. You know? So what are you you're looking over there at the weed whacker for the nose hair, aren't you?
No, I was just looking over to see what what else there was over there.
Yeah. But listen, all we're saying too, see if you want to jump aboard and you want to be sponsoring the podcast, we'll take it. You know, we're not. I hate these podcasts that were like, oh, we have a limit of sponsors. Nah, I'd happily do a 3-hour read and a 20-minute podcast.
Even if you're a small company and you want to do a one-up as a bit of a laugh,
yeah, listen,
I'd say go for it.
Like, I mean, I hate to blow my own trumpet, but I'm one of the best, you know, comedians in the world, probably. You know, I'd say country, but I've let that get into my nose and my mouth and my head. I feel a little bit high. So, because Manscaped use a lot of like dangerous chemicals in their products to make your balls tighter and smoother and to not sting. That's why the Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 doesn't hurt your dick and balls, because there's so many chemicals in their products that it just numbs your cock and balls.
Let's hope they don't listen this far through.
No, they won't. They won't care. You know, they won't care. And see if they do, what are they going to do? Huh? Fuck them. Hey, Manscaped, fuck you. There you go. Manscaped.com. Use the discount code SLY, SLY, at checkout. Fuck them. Fuck Manscaped. If you do any like ball trimmers or like stuff, get in touch and fucking ditch these guys. Fuck them. There you go. See you later, Manscaped. You rent boys. Anyhow, how have you been, my friend?
Good.
You're worried now because you're the producer of the podcast. You're probably cross. Should I bring that up? Oh no, I've broken it. No, I haven't. It's very durable as well. And that's the beauty of the Lawnmower 4.0. It's durable and it doesn't cut your balls. There you go. So more importantly, Ben, what have you been at that you haven't been able to come and produce the podcast in person? What are you doing of your evenings? What is better in your evenings than sitting in here with me?
Just chilling out with the family.
Chilling out with the family.
It's been a busy old time.
No, hold on. You've definitely performed a bit of an oxymoron there, because you've just said I'm chilling out with my family. It's been a busy time. Either you've been chilling or you've been busy. What is it?
9 to 5, busy.
Mm-hmm.
Evenings, nice and calm.
What time do you get rid of your kids of an evening? Like, what time do they go to bed at? Are we talking here?
Between 7 and half 7.
Nice. And then what do you do after that? What time do you go to bed at?
Probably 11ish.
11ish. Nice. Now, guess what, guys? For those who don't know, I actually did genuinely spray something in my eye there. So if I've been twitching for the last 5 minutes, that's it. I went to bed last night just after Bloodlands finished, and I must be honest and respectful to Jimmy Nesbitt, I fell asleep during like the last half hour of it, and it's only an hour show. So I went to bed at 10 and I ended up getting 8 hours and 20 minutes sleep, which I think is double what I got the night before, because I don't know what happened to me, but I was very tired. Couldn't sleep. I think sometimes, I don't know much about, if I maybe get a sleep expert, maybe that's what you need to get in the show, is to try to get some advice on sleeping, because I've definitely found more recently, if I go to bed with a lot of thoughts in my head, I just can't switch off and I can't sleep.
And that big block of cheese as well probably doesn't help.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing. Whenever, like, Dramona is probably the taste. Like, as Eric Cantona would say when talking about Kronenberg, it's the taste supreme. You know what I mean? A block of Dramona cheese is hard to beat. Now, people say it's bad before bed, sits in the stomach. I like it. But I found, like, recently I just have not been able to sleep too good. And then I think I get one thing in my head. And a lot of people say it's to do with being on your phone.
I was about to say, are you on your phone or watching TV right up to bedtime?
I would, like, you know what, of an evening, that's, like, I think that's what most people do they not? People with kids, realistically, you put the kids to bed and you sit in front of the TV with your wife and or husband, partner, boyfriend, girlfriend.
Or all of them.
Number one squeeze, or all at once if you're an absolute baller with no shame. But I just find, that's what we do. Like, we'd sit and watch, and we have our wee shows we watch. And do you and your wife, Ben, ever have, like a wee routine, like a weekly routine of, like, TV shows? On certain days you watch certain shows, or you just kind of mix and match? Like, what are you watching at the minute?
Not the set days with Netflix, because you can obviously drop in and out.
Yeah.
And depends what mood you're in. But so. We'd have kind of like a tier. So if you can kind of go down the one.
So what's the minute? Like, say if you have all the shows lined up, what are you watching at the minute?
We were watching that House of Dragon thing.
But why not?
I mean, why not?
You said you were watching House of Dragon.
They did like 4 episodes with this cast.
Yeah.
Really started to get into it, and then they go, we're going to fast forward 20 years and change everybody.
Yep.
And then you're going, for fuck's sake.
No, I'm loving it. I watched the House of Dragon.
No,
it's
the last one completely. I was like, what?
Did you watch the one last night or
no? Not yet.
No. So let me right. So spoiler alert: if anyone hasn't watched House of the Dragon,
such as me,
eat a dick, such as you, right? So I haven't watched this week's episode because it comes out overnight between Sunday and Monday. Now, it's usually this is our routine. Okay, on Sunday we watch Bloodlands. Now, this is what I like, and I've said this before, and people might lose their head about it. I don't care. You know, here's the thing: there are pros and cons to streaming services, and one of the things I used to love was just binging shows, watching them back to back to back. But more recently I've started watching things weekly, and it's quite nice because you look forward to it. So House of the Dragon comes out overnight on a Sunday, so usually watch that on a Monday, and in the last few weeks on a Sunday we watch Bloodlands. That's what we watch with Jimmy Nesbitt. And I look forward to Sunday evenings now, and I look forward to Monday evenings. Unfortunately, because I care about you fucking bastards, especially the patrons, www.patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. I'm here on a Monday night doing the Sly Guy Podcast when I should be at home. I need to sit with my dick out. Don't have my dick out ever. My feet up, so what I meant to say. I know that the two are one and the same. A lot of people, you know, raise their feet or get their dicks out. I don't even know. But for me, I recline my seat and I'll watch the House of the Dragon, but that'll have to be a Tuesday night activity now for me. And you know what else I'm doing tomorrow night? Picking up my daughter from Rainbows and pumping some fucking weights. Not together. I'm not going to pick her up and just do deadlifts in the car park. I'm going to go home and go do some weights because I'm a fitness guy, and that's what I'm planning on doing. But I like that. I like to watch the House of the Dragon. And you were saying there you've got some beef with the switching around of the cast. Why is that?
But the fact, like, you change everybody,
or
you don't change anybody. You can't go see other girls. You're different now.
Yeah, I mean,
the guy who is not the hand, but the guy who's like the protector of that girl, like slept with her.
Yeah,
whatever.
Same guy.
Yeah, no grey hair. Yet everybody else was aged and had like 5 kids.
Yeah, but what I think they've done there is
fucked up.
For like what I think they're trying to do here. Back in those days, and again, I could be saying some wrong things here. So, by the way, Ben, get your pen out here. Get your pen out, make some notes, because I could say some things that are libelous, get me into trouble. But what I think it is girls in those days were pretty young. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think like Rhaenyra and the wife who got married to her dad, I don't know her name. I know her Emma Dakota now from that Psycho show that I used to watch with Mother and all in it, Norman Bates Motel. That's who I recognise her from. But what I think it was is what I think they're trying to say. See, right, from an autistic, no, definitely not from an autistic point of view. From an artistic point of view, right, what I think they're trying to do is say that the girls were young, prepubescent girls at that time. And then
what age are you talking?
I think like 13, 14. I think that's what they were at that time. Then I think what they've done is be like, now they're fully grown women, so that's why they've changed the characters. However, all the other people were adults and they've just kind of aged. I think what they're trying to, and that's why I think they're doing it. Now, could be that, or what they've gone and done is get, higher profile actresses on board and not had the budget to have them from the start.
But the girls have changed.
Yes.
Your man said no grey hair, but the guy who's the king,
yeah,
he's like 50 years.
Yeah, he doesn't look sweet.
They've completely just gone, you've aged.
But also he has like sepsis or something too. Yeah. So like he's just, to be fair, I didn't expect him to be there. Whenever they did the flip forward, what I thought
he'd be gone.
What I thought was going to happen. Now this could be a spoiler alert, and I'm just coming around and give a fuck. What I liked about it, the thing I hated the most about the House of the Dragon so far, didn't like whenever they cut Daemon's hair. Thought it looked stupid. He just looked like Doctor Who was gone albino. You know what I mean? Didn't like that. But his hair's grown back. He looks like Erling Haaland again, and I'm happy. But he's my favourite character because he's just a real bad boy, isn't he, old Daemon? And
what of a sly guy?
He's a sly guy and he's a sex machine. And I mean, they were the two last names that we had got down to from changing the name from Dave Elliott's Weird Podcast. It was either going to be the Sly Guy Podcast or the Sex Machine Podcast. And a lot of people do call, like, people know me as Dave Elliott. Yes, that's my stage name. My real name's David. Oh, shocker. But also people like to call me Papa Bear. It's a nickname I have. A lot of people also like to call me the Sex Machine. That's up to them. I don't complain. You call me it off camera, the Sex Machine. I don't mind it. It's all good. But that's what Damon's all about, a sly guy and a sex machine. And I think that the actual series, The House of the Dragon, is better at the minute than Game of Thrones was at the end.
At the end. Yeah, you can't just throw that at the end of it. Yes. I think Game of Thrones for me was slow at the beginning. And then got quite good and then got slow again. And then they just went, fuck it, and ended it.
But you know what? I also want to put it on record as saying Snow's going to start soon. And not that guy goes, Informers, blame, lick a boom boom down. Jon Snow, the bastard, is getting his own series called Snow. I think it's actually called Snow, but it'll obviously be pronounced Snow. I'm Jon Snow.
But will this one be done and wrapped up before it starts?
I don't know, because
that'd be too bad.
I want a break in it. I want it to not come out for another couple of years. I want there to be 10 years of the House of the Dragon. That's how much I'm enjoying it at the minute. And you know what I love most about it? Same music. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing from a creative point of view. I quite like when you're like, oh, it's like little hints. It's not the full. It's like little hints throughout it.
Yeah, but they didn't until the very end of the first episode. Then they played, and I was like, yes.
Do you do the same thing when you're watching through it and they mention like a thing from Game of Thrones and you get really excited? Yeah. Like they mention like a land or who's Night's Watch.
Yeah. They're like, the Night's Watch, and then they'll be like, oh, the Lannister, like Barry Lannister, and you're like, oh, the Lannisters. Barry Lannister actually does sound like someone that would be just down the local yacht club, doesn't he? Barry Lannister's donating the fucking BM to the yacht club raffle this weekend. But I think also who's going to appear, I think in House Dragon will be the Red Witch. I think she's old enough to fit into both of them. And you know what else she is? Sexy. And like, I'd be keen to see that. And like, now a lot of people are like, oh, she's so sexy and she's always naked in Game of Thrones. I loved it.
You.
I just loved it even more when she got old and naked and sexy. Do you not think when she turned old she was so sexy?
Sure.
Old people are sexy too. Hashtag.
It's not too late to become the Sex Machine Podcast if you want.
Listen, maybe this is what we do. We just straight up with no reference, no nothing, just change the logo to the Sex Machine. Same font and everything. Maybe we'll do that, Ben, for a one-off. Just do the Sex Machine Podcast, not even mention it.
Get the red lights on.
Listen, but the only problem is, right, we have quite a slim window in this studio. If we hit the red light on, there'll be just guys out there beating their dicks off the window, expect me to suck them. But I'm like, hey, I'm not in that life anymore. I've moved on.
You don't have time anyway.
No, I mean, I don't have time.
Single parent and all that.
Exactly, I'm a single dad now. I don't have time to be sucking dick. I mean, maybe I could just do that to relax a bit from time to time, but I wouldn't take a fee for it. Just do it as a hobby.
That's very kind of you.
Yeah. So you're not liking the House of Dragon anymore? You're going to get past it? You're going to get past it?
I think I'm going to have to.
Yeah, don't be a shite bag. It's good.
Yeah.
It is good. I can't wait to see it. And like, it's so hard. Do you have things with your wife that you share, and if you were to do it yourself, there'd be problems? Like, there's things you do together, and if you try to do it a wee bit by yourself or without her, it'd be an issue. Like, we watch House of the Dragon together, and if I watched an episode
Right.
and she wasn't there, she wouldn't be happy. She wouldn't be happy at all.
No, but I'm very strange that I will rewatch it because I will probably fall asleep during it.
Right, okay.
And then I'll like lie sideways, so it's just when I'm asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll wake up at a random bit. Oh, yeah, that's happening there. Pretending I haven't fallen asleep, and then
Yeah.
rewatch it the next day by myself, so then I can engage in a conversation about it.
Oh, would she be sneaky too? They'd be like, quiz you on it if you were asleep?
No, because I would never admit that I've fallen asleep.
Can she not see you with your eyes closed?
No, because I'm like, I got my head down, slightly turned.
Right, okay.
So then I can't ask.
I thought you were
questions.
like just having sleep with one eye. Like, you had to sleep like Forrest Whitaker. You're just like this, and then this eye's fully down, this one's open. Just watching. I don't know how
Not
I do
quite.
that. No, because my problem is when I fall asleep, I fully fall asleep. Like, you know, like
Snoring and everything.
my head goes back. Yeah, I'm fully like, if you know when I'm asleep, because I snore.
Would Catherine pause it though for you, or she just go
Deposit what?
pause it?
Oh, right. No, fuck
Or
that.
would she just be like, you've made
No,
your choice?
she's very much like, Catherine would be like she'd be like a bear who's just had cubs, and then maybe like a cheetah's coming to. Now, I know these two animals probably never cross paths, but like a cheetah would come to eat the bear cub, and the bear would be like, nah, fuck that, I'm heading on anyway. You know, each to their own. You should be able to fend for yourself. Fuck you. You know, she would just carry on, and she would then use that as to be like, this is now something I watch by myself. She does
Yes.
that with Married at First Sight, and I don't like it because I
So
like Married at First Sight.
You fell asleep, and I'm an episode ahead of you, and I'm not waiting
Yeah.
for you.
And I'll not let you. Oh, yeah. And then what she actually did, and she did that, she tried that shit with me with House of the Dragon, because it came out, right? And the first episode came out, and we're like, we're going to watch that together. And now, forbid me, I was doing work in progress shows or something, or I was out gigging, I was trying to earn a bit of money from the family, because that's the thing. When she's at home in the evening times, I have to go out to work because I'm a house husband during the day, and in the evenings, I moonlight as a comedian, okay? So I was out earning money, and she just was like, I'm going to watch the first episode because you've too many gigs this week, so I don't know when I'll get to see it. So she watched it, and then she put on, she did a fucking, you know, like an egg timer. She goes to me, TikTok, you have a week to watch it, or I'm watching the new episode. So obviously I went, all right, fuck you, and I watched it. The Spider. I didn't want to watch House of the Dragon at all at the beginning, but I did it to Spider, and that's sometimes the biggest motivator in the world is to spite your wife or husband. Do you agree?
100%.
Yeah, and I proved it wrong, and I absolutely loved it.
Do you ever
Nope.
suggest a show, like, oh, we should watch this show, and they go, not really for me, and then you go, that's okay, no problem, and then you decide,
That's a
I'm
problem.
going to start watching it, and then you'd be like, oh, I'm watching this show, it's really good. It's like, oh, I thought we were going to watch that together.
Yes.
And then
she
you,
does that.
then you go,
But then what I find very annoying that she does a lot is we start something and she's just on her phone on TikTok or something. It's like, are you
after
watching or
making you
not?
wait to watch it with her.
Yeah, and then she doesn't know what's going on. She's like, I don't really like this. And you're like, well, you've not really watched it. Like, I watched something with your man in it, Paddy Considine, who is the king on House of the Dragons. And it was like The Informer or something, or the Interrogator or something like that. It was a show about him being an informant. Yeah, the Informant, that's what it was called. And it was great. And we watched the first episode. She's like, I don't really get it. And it's like, yeah, because you've just been watching TikTok flat out for the last. And then I fired ahead and watched it, and she got humpy because I was like in episode 4. I'm like, and it was brilliant, really, really good. But the amount of shows we start, and then I'm really into because I put my phone down and pay attention, and she just doesn't. It's like, all right, you know, there you go. Like Bloodlands, albeit I did fall asleep last night.
Was a part of Bloodlands filmed down in Bangor beside Macaulay's Furnishings?
Yes, I think so.
Because they had a set and all this up there, I think, a while ago. For ages.
They were in Bangor for a while for stuff. But I love Bloodlands. And you know what? A lot of people give Bloodlands shit and say it's wick and make fun of the acting. I like it. It's a good time. Maybe some of the storylines are a wee bit far-fetched. You know, maybe some of them. But you know what? Here's the thing. It's fiction. Eat a bag of dicks and enjoy it. You know what I mean? And I won't stand here and have anyone criticise Jimmy Nesbitt ever. Jimmy Nesbitt is a god. Jimmy Nesbitt is the greatest actor to ever come from this planet. There you go. Let alone these shores, this planet. You know, he is the greatest. And see, when you watch Bloodlands, right? People always, like, this is the thing that's gone on Twitter. They always talk about Jimmy Nesbitt's face in Bloodlands. old Brannick, Detective Brannick is what he's called, and he does it. Is it Tom Brannick? Can you check it to make sure I've got his name wrong? Because I'll be very embarrassed.
What is this?
It's Bloodlands. I think it's Tom Brannick.
Bloodlands.
Yeah, let's see. I'm under a lot of pressure here.
What do you think it was?
Tom Brannick.
You sure?
Yeah, final answer.
Yes.
I'm a fucking super fan of Bloodlands, right? But
what do you know the main character's name?
yes, I know the main character's name.
You do pay attention.
Yes, I do pay attention. But the thing about it is, right? They always say that his face is real, and it is. And like, if I had the editing ability or the spare time to edit together like a highlight reel of just Jimmy Nesbitt's close up on his face throughout the series of Bloodlands, I would do that because it's a lot, right? But his face shows you what's happening in the show. See if something's about to hit the fan, Ben, this is what they say, right? It's a shot of Jimmy Nesbitt's face like this, and he's always looking slightly off the camera because it would be weird if he looked down the lens, but he's like this, and when you know it's about to kick off, close up of his face. Same thing. See when shit's really about to hit the fan, you start hearing the music slowly creeping in, and it's sort of going, and he's doing this face like he makes his wee mouth turn into like an anus, and for some reason his eyebrows just get bigger and darker, and he's like this. And then when the crescendo the music hits and the fan has the shit is just being splattered out the back of the fan up the wall, he purses his lips open a bit and you see his fucking two front teeth, and it's like this, and the music just hits crescendo. It's like credits, Bloodlands. And every time Tom Brannick does something stupid he shouldn't do, like he has this whole plan of trying to, again, bars of gold. Who even bargains some bars of gold anymore? Is that something that people do? They're looking for bars of gold at the minute because it's a fucking, I don't know, but they're looking at bars of gold. That's all good. He ends up wanting the bar of gold. He's a policeman, but he's also a baddie, and he fucking shoots people, and afterwards he's like, bollocks, I've fucking done that. And then he goes, and that's Bloodlands, and that's why it's great, and I can't wait to watch it. I don't know where it's going to go. The end of the last series made no sense either, and you know what else I liked about it, and people gave off about it? They didn't do a recap of what happened in the first series. They just went straight into the new series, and that's it. Use your memories, don't fall asleep.
I hate it when they do
that. What other shows, anything spring to mind that you've watched like that before?
There was a show that we started to watch, I can't remember what it's called. It was a really
Big Bang Theory.
It was one on Netflix, I can't remember what it was called, but they did it's like 2 years ago, the first season came out.
Right, okay.
We were watching, going like, oh fuck, the second season's out. They're going to start and give you a recap.
Yeah.
Straight in.
What was it, do you remember?
Literally straight into like, something that, it was some fantasy weird thing, but it ended like the school's under attack, and then they started with like middle.
Was that Wolf Boy thing you watched?
No, we never went back to finish that. Wolf.
Teen Wolf? That was the weirdest thing you'd ever said to me. We were talking, what do you watch a minute? Oh, what's Teen Wolf? Alright, mate, from 1987, fair play.
Yeah, I gave up on that one.
Nice. Did it get shit? Like, I spoke last week with the Dahmer show. Have you watched it?
We just watched the one where the deaf guy gets killed in it.
People say that's quite sad.
It is quite sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dahmer's a dickhead, you know what I mean?
I'm getting that impression that there might be something wrong with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's probably the least damaged from his child of all serial killers. Like, everyone else is like a real, that's about. Dahmer's just kind of like a bit of a weirdo.
Likes his beer.
I like a cold beer, I like to kill me, I like to... Oh, have you ever been in that scenario yourself where you've been like, you know, getting off with somebody and be like, I'd love to see what their insides look like. No? Fucking weirdo. Absolutely not.
And the fact that, like, he's like so aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I really shouldn't eat this guy's heart, but,
Listen, once you popped, you know, and I wonder, like, if he ever got so hammered and then woke up and was like, it was a really weird dream I had. And he's like, bollocks, looks over and it's just like a butcher's table.
Have you watched all of it?
No, I'm on episode 4, 5.
But there's one where... This is a spoiler. Can't be a spoiler if it's...
Hey, Dahmer spoiler alert here.
That he goes to do his wee druggy thing on some guy and accidentally takes her own drink. And then... So he drugs himself? And then drugs the other guy as well. And then he wakes up with the guy like absolutely just battered, dead. And he's like, oops.
Yeah.
So does that happen before?
Yeah, but you know what I liked about him? I liked nothing actually. I didn't like anything about Jeffrey Dahmer. But what I liked is like that what he did was he got himself in shape, just specifically to murder people. He's like, listen, what's your training program? What do you want to do? I want to be able to be fit enough to murder people.
Like practicing strangling.
What's your technique? I mean, you probably use that technique too, and then around the neck as well.
I mean,
pretty gross.
The other thing is, in his one-bedroom apartment, there's a massive big blue barrel.
Yeah.
Filled with body parts and acid.
Yeah.
Is that not a bit of a red flag?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are plenty of red flags, but what I thought was the worst bit about it, which, like, you must think make people feel a bit wet, is the neighbours complained. They were like, Jeffrey's house stinks of shit, there's a lot of weird goings on. The police were like, those guys, what I like.
People
and it's
come
like,
in and don't go out again.
Yeah, well, that's a fair thing. But, like, that was what happened to, the little boy who he had, like, drilled into his head, and he was, like, naked in the street.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's my boyfriend. And the police literally were like, you know what the gays are like?
Oh, yeah. And
that's
like,
like
one of the questions
mental.
it's like, what's in there? Is there any gay stuff in there?
Yeah.
And it's like, don't want to catch them AIDS.
I know. Is there any gay stuff in there? My team was like, a few things, In fact, but what do you mean by gay stuff? It's like any dildos? No, we don't actually have any artificial penises. Real penises, on the other hand, yes, several in my freezer, if you must.
Yeah.
But it's so gross.
I think you're watching it going, this is really weird, and you kind of keep remembering this actually happened.
Yeah, but like that's to say, nothing is as strange as the real world, eh? That's not the saying. Fiction, strange as fiction. I don't know. I think, has Jeffrey Dahmer snuck into the studio and put a drill in the back of my head and poured acid into it? Because that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But what I did do actually today, and it's well worth doing, I've been, since I've watched the Dahmer documentary, I've been getting a wee bit more into watching like true crime stuff. You ever done that, Ben? You a fan? Obviously, it's Serial Killing Podcast, patreon.com/Sly Guy Podcast. But I was watching like court appearances by serial killers on YouTube.
Right.
And I saw Dennis Rader, who's known as the BTK killer, as opposed to the BTS killer, which is the... No. But the BTK is, I think it's bind, tie, kill, or torture. Bind, torture, kill, maybe. It's BTK, look it up, would you? Bind, torture, kill. Dennis Rader. Is that what it stands for?
Bind, torture, kill.
Bind, torture, kill. But he was in like court, and they were just like basically getting a confession from him, and the video's on YouTube, and he just like basically, as matter of fact as you like, explains how he just killed the people. He was like, yeah, I went in the first house, just it's supposed to be just be a sexual fantasy. There was there's this woman here and her two kids, and didn't expect the husband to be there, but he was there too, so he just got him to tie the wife up, and he kept like shouting and stuff, so I shot him. And he was like, I actually referred, he said something like, I referred to the people like as projects. So like he was saying to the judge, this is the judge, he was like, yeah, no, the judge didn't say this, Dennis Rader said this to the judge. He was like, yeah, this woman was a new project of mine, and I sort of followed her for a while, and I was just watching her routine and stuff, and I sort of liked what I saw, and this one day I just went into her house and I waited, and she came home, and she brought a friend with her that I didn't expect, so I shot him. And I was just like, you're watching it going, are you fucking real? This is so ridiculous how blasé was about it. Like, see, if you're saying that, you'd expect someone to be like this, oh no, Jesus, you'd never believe what I did. But he was like, yeah, and I did that. And then he just went through all the murders that he committed, where he did it, how he did it, and that was it. So casual. So, what do you think of that?
Fun?
Yeah, it's not fun, and you know what? At least we don't really have serial killers over here, do we?
No. I'm going to go with a no on that one.
Yeah. Do you want to do some listeners' questions? How long have we been talking for? Feels like too long.
About 50 minutes.
15 minutes?
50.
Fuck, I was about to serial kill myself there. I was like, 15 minutes? Right, let me see what we're doing here. Declan Curran, has asked the question, which potentially is one of the most thought-provoking questions of all time in history. He has asked, and I want your help in this, Ben, please too. What happens to your Tinder profile if you die? Can you look that up? Because I would assume people, that's the biggest insult of all, being swiped against. I don't know whether it's left or right. I think swipe left's probably a no, isn't it? I think you get swiped left, and you're dead. You know what I mean? Finally, you can't even go on a date, but you're on Tinder, dead.
It just stays there.
Oh, wow, there you go. Ben has Googled it. When you die, there you go, Declan. You've asked what happens to your Tinder profile if you die, stays there.
I think you can deactivate it, like the family has to, but obviously then...
But you can't deactivate it if you're, deactivate it.
But if your family are like, doesn't need it anymore, they can contact Tinder, but then that's like a whole thing you have to... I don't know.
Like, how do you contact Tinder to be like, listen, like, say Ben's on Tinder and he loves it. Ben's dead. Can you take him off Tinder? And Tinder like, you're spoofing us. Do you have to like send your death certificate in? Or like a news article to say this guy's dead and a photo and take him off Tinder? Because I imagine it is quite distasteful to be still on Tinder dead. You know? I bet, or if like some like fucking Jeffrey Dahmer's on Tinder, he'd probably prefer to date if you're dead, you know?
Probably.
There you go.
Well, that's a filter on it.
A filter?
Yeah,
what? Oh, for dead people? I thought you meant over their dead face, which is going to say it's fucking heinous. You know what? They're a wee bit huey there. There's a wee bit of... They look a bit waxy. Could you put a wee filter on them? The wee one of the rosy cheeks. Put a bit of colour about their faces. They look a wee bit too dead. What are you doing over there? Are you really typing? Are you trying to find out more facts?
No, I'm taking my notes down on a piece of paper on the computer.
About what? About what to do? Have you killed somebody that you need to get off Tinder?
I'm just reminding myself to delete apps and
delete apps. Right. Patrick Quinn has said, "Do you think you could move abroad to live permanently? Where would you go? And if so, do you think you would miss Northern Ireland?" You know what? Do I think I could move abroad to live permanently? I do think I could, because I'm full adult. I can do whatever I want within reason. Would I want to? Nah. I always would like here to be my base in Bangor, obviously. But you don't know what circumstances will change or what will happen in life. You just don't know. If I were to move abroad, you know what? I would like to probably live in Devon or Cornwall. I love it there. I just think it's a great part of the world. But I would take a lot for me to move. I like America as well. You know what? I'd be one of these people that wouldn't go anywhere that I have to learn a foreign language because I think I'm too stupid and old to like fully learn another language and culture entirely. I'd have to go somewhere English speaking first and foremost, which is Sly. But hey, it is what it is. And probably like to move, if I was to move to America, I'd probably move to somewhere in the West Coast, I must say. I like the West Coast. I like to live, on the West Coast. I like New York and all, but I couldn't do like that city living too much. I like a house, like a wee bit of surrounding area. I think the West Coast is a bit more sparse than the East Coast, so probably do that. Would you ever move abroad, do you think?
Nope.
No? If you were to, where would you consider?
New Zealand.
New Zealand? What makes you answered that very quick?
I wouldn't want to move because it's so far away, but if I had to, New Zealand would probably be where I go.
And what have you been on holidays there? Would you like to go there on holidays?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Haven't been, but
what is it that draws you to New Zealand?
I just think it's fairly similar to here.
Oh, why? Because there's a UDA in Auckland.
You got two countries, it's just two parts, two islands, separated
by a sea border.
Proper border. Yeah,
it's a proper border. True. New Zealand I think is a nice part. I've never felt the draw of Australia because I don't know. I've seen Wolf Creek too, which put the willies up me. But yeah, I would like to visit New Zealand. You know where I'd really like to go on holidays, not to live, but I'd like to go on holidays to Japan. It's always tickled my pickle a lot. But to answer your question, Patrick, do you think I could move abroad to live permanently? I do think I could, but I would not want to. I would like to travel a bit more and maybe work abroad a bit more, but also always be my base and maybe go away for like a week or two at the time if I really need to. But yeah, I'd most like to live here. Tom Symington has said, any quest steps on the agenda, or am I going to have to fork out for the Patreon? Well, I don't know if we're planning on doing any quests, but there are guest episodes. Sometimes we'll have a guest on the regular podcast. Sometimes we won't, but every single week the Patreon's where it's at. And if you want I think you should fork out, because two quid, you know, for £2 you get all the extra stuff. And Ben, as a fan, like, you started off before, you're probably an example of what a stalker should do, really, isn't it? Like, you were a fan first, and then you've become part of Boytown first, and then you became part of this, and
slowly working my way in.
And now you're not a fan anymore, and that's good. You know, it's just you're not a fan. You don't like me. You don't like the content. But if you were still a fan, would you like what we're putting on Patreon?
I certainly get me going. Yeah.
Yeah, for £2.
£2.
You know what I mean?
What do you have to lose?
Yeah. I think, you know what, Tom, you'd be welcome you'd be welcome. There's a Sly Hard or Rider Sly. You'd be welcome over there, and it'd be a lot of fun. Naomi has promised me that this isn't as bad as last week's Reddit. She sent me a stinking link last week about a guy who just wanked loads in his sink. Did you hear this, Ben?
No.
And then someone boked in the sink, and there was cum and boke in the U-bend of his sink, and it made me grossly uncomfortable. Now this link today, she says it's not as bad as last week, and it's a link to Reddit. So let's see what it says. Yesterday, my girlfriend agreed to be my trip sitter. Now, I don't know what a trip sitter is. I imagine somebody that watches you when you're on drugs. Would that sound about right to you, Ben? A trip sitter? Like, if you're taking... now, I could be wrong. I imagine if you take drugs and you go on a trip, somebody will, like, watch to make sure you don't, like, die or, like, swallow your tongue or something. Imagine. Naomi, can you do me a favour? See, next time, can you condense the document and just, like, take the key points, put it down, because there's a lot to read, but I'll go for it anyway. Yesterday, my girlfriend agreed to be my trip sitter. I like shrooms, and usually I'm a 2-gram shroom guy, but yesterday I wanted to see what 4 grams would do. I asked my girlfriend to be my trip sitter just in case I decided to Peter Pan off a balcony or something. Oh no. At the time, my girlfriend seemed really keen. She even joked about getting popcorn, which she actually did. She ran out of popcorn more or less at the same time she ran out of enthusiasm. I spent most of the night doing an invisible hula hoop dance and laughing hysterically. The higher dose definitely hit different. My girlfriend said it was getting late and wanted us to go to bed. We ended up in bed. My girlfriend eventually fell asleep. I was still wide awake and unable to stop touching my Adam's apple every time I swallowed. My girlfriend woke up to me standing on the bed, completely naked, continuing to do the invisible hula hoop dance. She grabbed a blanket and left the bedroom. I have no idea how long I was dancing on the bed, but I must have exhausted myself and passed out, because I remember nothing else afterwards other than waking up alone in bed this morning and finding my girlfriend sleeping in the living room. When my girlfriend opened her eyes, I was standing by with breakfast and an apology, which my girlfriend was grateful for. However, she broke up with me. Last night was too much frat boy for her liking. Apparently she expected an older guy like me to be more mature. I'm 22, she's 19. What the fuck? Anyway, she left. I really liked her. There you go. Took a wee turn there, didn't it? But you know what? See, when you're 22 and you're 19, that's the way you go, isn't it? You used to do mushrooms, didn't you, when you were 19, Ben?
Yeah.
You still do?
My lunchbox.
Nice, but, you know, I think it's a shame. Shame you broke up, but also, you know, what did she expect from a 22-year-old guy? They say that men are less mature than women, don't they, Ben? So I would imagine, like, he probably should have been another 3 or 4 years older than her for him to, you know, fully be not doing shrooms and swing his dick around. Chris wants to know the best bar and spot in Belfast to gig in. Ooh. You know what? I will say, I did a gig last Friday night in the Glenowen, and it was honestly 10 out of 10. Really good fun. The crowd were really up for it. It was one of those gigs that came to the day, and I was like, oh, I'm really tired. It's like you have to psych yourself up sometimes. 9 times out of 10, you go to gigs, you're like, oh, I look forward to this. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'd rather just stay in bed. This one was one of those times. I got there, genuinely loved it. Really, really good. That was a good room. The night before, I did Pug Uglies, Pugs Comedy Club, and it was tremendous. It was myself, Mickey Bartlett, and Rory Woods, and honestly, when Pugs is popping, there's no better room. And I'm not just saying that because I host the night and I've been involved in it. It's genuinely just great, and it's because it's like a New York comedy club. The setup of the lounge in Pug Uglies is like, you know, a proper like an American. It's got the brick walls, just everything about it. It's just you, a mic, an audience. There's nothing better. So for me, the best bar and spot in Belfast to gig in is Pug Uglies, and I think when the room's full of people, which it has been the last few times, nothing's better. So Pug Uglies. And also, Pugs Comedy Club sponsors the podcast now. That's not nepotism or favoritism on our part in talking about it. I'm just being honest, it is. I would say that anyway. Other places I like the gig too in Belfast. I love the Strand. The gigs in the Strand are always brilliant. So, yeah, I would say Pugs 1, Strand 2, probably. But also, a big shout out to the Glenone as well. If you're up in that part, check out gigs up there. Hopefully they keep running. Hannah Nugent has said, is Kit Kat a biscuit or a chocolate bar? Kit Kat Chunky obviously is a chocolate bar, but otherwise Kit Kat is a biscuit surely. Ben, I don't really care about this question enough to get into an argument with you about it, but what do you think a Kit Kat is?
A biscuit or
a chocolate bar?
Probably chocolate bar.
Yeah. You know what, Hannah? I sounded disrespectful to your question there when I said don't care about it. I do. But I don't care enough about, you know, I think a Kit Kat is a chocolate bar. I think to be a biscuit, you need to be circular. Or else not in a packet. You know what I mean? Like a wee don't have a tinfoil packet if you're a biscuit. You know? I think that's what makes it a chocolate bar. See if it came in like a wrap with like a tube. Yeah. But that's my thoughts on that. Joanne Andrews Evans says, what are your views on hoodies, which are oversized comfy hoodies? I think hoodies are probably fine. I don't know enough about hoodies. Are they thicker material, or are they just like, for you, Joanne, you look like a little woman, whereas I'm a large man. So I think if, like, would that mean like you would buy an hoodie in your size, but it's specifically bigger? Or is it just a regular hoodie that's bought in a bigger size? Do you know, Ben, what the difference is? Like, because my wife likes to wear my hoodies, and they are on her hoodies.
But just like more.
Are they like fleece? You have an hoodie, don't you? Or no, because you
like
came out into the garden. Pardon?
Like an off-brand one.
Right, so it's not an hoodie, but it's a rip-off.
It's basically like a big baggy hoodie that's fluffy.
But is it thicker? Like, is it a fleece line thing, an hoodie?
Yeah.
Is it comfortable? Does it go down? Like, is it a onesie or just the top?
No, it goes down kind of nearly to my knees. No, about to my knees.
And what do you do when you wear it? Fuck no. just watch TV.
Yeah.
Do you wear bottoms with an hoodie? What sort of bottoms?
Just sweats.
Imagine you're just like formal shoes, not formal shoes. Formal shoes. I meant to say formal trousers, but for some reason they said shoes. Just the sweats.
Yeah, it's roasting inside.
In the hoodie, especially nowadays, that costs you a fortune to feed. I used the tumble dryer today, and my wife near filed for divorce. But no, you know what? What I'm going to say to you, Joanne, I'll put the address of the studio in the description, and if you want to send me an hoodie, I'll try it out. But you know what? I think I'm all for them, but I just imagine like it would just be a regular hoodie. That's confusing me a bit. John Joe wants to know if there's any feedback from Channel 4 on William of Orangedale. Yes, there has been feedback. We are now probably not allowed to talk about what we're doing, but we are in contact with them, and hopefully there will be news soon. And hopefully it'll be good news, obviously, because we'd like to see more made, but each their own. Sam wants to know, what do I think of Tottenham? The answer is shit. And what do you think of shit? Tottenham. We hate Tottenham. We hate Tottenham. Anyway, also, does your wife ever make you go, fuck's sake? Hey, it'd be easier to ask me if she didn't. And make things up that she doesn't like and claim she never liked the thing. For example, my partner of 3.5 years recently told me she doesn't eat butter. I knew it was nonsense, but then I caught her out at the weekend when she asked for butter on her toast. Fuck's sake. P.S. Thanks for keeping North Down safe. My wife makes me go fuck's sake about quite a few things, I would say. But things she doesn't like, yeah, like she'll just say I don't like, and then like a sweeping statement, and just like that'll cover everything. Like, I don't like movies that make me think. And it's like, any movie would make you think. So then she's like, well, I don't like any movie, and then that just makes it difficult for me. Like we spoke about earlier, she'll watch stuff that's different to me and blah blah blah, but she makes me say fuck's sake all the time. The damn bastard. Matthew Kilpatrick has said, Papa Bear, whatever happened to you noshing yourself off on stage once you hit the 200 reviews mark? I forgot I hit the 200 reviews. I'd be keen to see that. Keep up the good work. Well, you know what? I think I amended it to say that if I sold out Ulster Hall, I would nosh myself off on stage, and I didn't sell out Ulster Hall, so there you go. That's the problem. That's a failure. I've let myself down, and I'm not going to nosh myself off because of that, Joel McGonigal has said, Christmas special at the Strand Cinema. I can't confirm or deny that's going to happen, but all I'll say is keep your friends close and your enemies closer, my essay. You know what I'm saying? There we go. And the last question is from Mark McVicker. And he says, with you stating previously about not wanting to participate in comedian's boxing event, I could see you as a Don King / Paul Heyman type character with Willie T as your opposing manager. Thoughts? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Let's not do comedian's boxing. Let's just do a big wrestling event. There you go. And I'd definitely do that. But yeah, I don't think, honestly, I could get myself excited about it enough to promote other people boxing. Just wouldn't entertain me. I have no interest in comedians boxing. I think it'd be shit, and I wouldn't want to be like a hype guy for it. So there you are. Speaking of hype guys, Ben, are you asleep over there?
Very nearly.
How long have we been talking for? What's the time?
Over an hour. 1 hour and 10.
Guys, listen. I thought it was a fun episode. We got there in the end. I was talking to Ben a few times there, and he just has fully switched off and is now just on his phone. So there you go. He's ruined the podcast. You're in the studio.
It's not far away from my bedtime, to be fair. It's
not 11 o'clock. We'll be home for 11 o'clock, to be fair. You know what I'm going to do when I go home? Another podcast, the Patreon podcast for the patrons. So there you go. That's dedication to the nation of masturbation, which is what the fans of the Sex Machine podcast are called. The nation of masturbation and female domination. Guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. Get over to Patreon, subscribe there, get all the bonus extra content, support our sponsors, Modest Beer and Pugs Comedy Club. And if you must shave your pubes, go to manscaped.com and use the code SLY, all capitals, SLY, SLY. And we'll see you next week.
I'm the Sly Guy.